Word, son, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy J Divine, Just Divine, J Divine, J Divine, don't matter, I answer either or. What it do, everybody? It's your boy Just Divine, J Divine, either or, whatever, whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, you know what I'm saying? It's your boy Just Divine with the Just Divine Podcast. Yet again, we are back. This episode is a little different, you know what I'm saying? I don't really have too many topics to talk about for this week. Nothing really piqued my interest, so well, I guess we'll just save it for next episode. But this episode is going to be special because I want to get into the whole debacle of SoftDrinkTV versus YoMama, right? So, oh yeah, also, my bad, I forgot. I'm tripping. I forgot today's date. Today's date is April 5th, 2022. Make sure you sit back, chill, take a pee break, pause the video, get you some popcorn because you know how I do. Same thing on the platform wherever you're listening to this on. Make sure you sit back, chill, take a pee break, hit the pause button if you got to, get you some popcorn. Not video, but pause the platform. Whatever it is you got to do, whatever applies to you, just do that, okay? So without further ado, man, let's get up into it. I know the intro was all over the place, but here we are. So let's start from square one. So YoMama, right? Now, before we even dive into this whole thing, YoMama, I want you to know something. Regardless of what you may think of this whole thing that's going on and how I'm calling you out and stuff like that, I don't have no problem with you. I have absolutely no issue, no ill will, no anything negativity related. I don't have any of that towards you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see your channel. I see what you do. You know what I'm saying? Your channel is cool. It's entertaining to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But your take was just wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just went at the wrong person with that kind of energy. You know what I mean? That's kind of unwarranted, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, if that's how you get down, that's how you get down. But that in particular was kind of tasteless. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I have no hate towards you at all whatsoever. You know what I mean? So, I know it's quite popular. I know it's quite the unpopular belief right now, but I'm just saying this is just how I feel. You know what I mean? But like I said, we're gonna unpack all of that stuff when we get there. So from the jump, YoMama, his YouTube channel was always built off of, you know, like I said, if you've seen part 1 and 2 of the whole YoMama soft drink debacle, you know, he's almost like, his take is almost like Keemstar when it comes down to Madden drama and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, he'll attack different things like that. You know, he's talking about the whole Chibata Mitch situation with him and Maze. I don't really follow it, but he's covered a lot of that stuff. Him and J-Mel or Jamel or whatever his name is, they've had a falling out, and they went back and forth. Him and Ryan Moody went at it back and forth. You know, so that's just kind of, you know, his little MO, you know what I mean? That's how he runs his channel. Some people find entertaining, some people don't, you know what I mean? I remember popping into one of his streams one time and he was talking about something. I think this is when the whole Rex and Clint thing was going on, and Clint was fucking up big time back there. And I think some girl happened to, like, it was a fake person posing as a girl to be one of the I guess trying to be EA Game Changer, and Clint took the bait and they called him out over it. I remember that. So he covered that. There's a bunch of other stuff he covered. You know what I mean? Like I said, I thought the dude was funny. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward through all of that. You know, I've been subscribed to him for a while. I'm still subscribed to him now. This is how I found out what he did. So when I saw him do the video on Soft Drink, or the stream, it wasn't even a whole entire video. It was just like a segment. I said like between a 40 minute and 45 minute segment about SoftDrinkTV and his retrospective video on Madden NFL 10. Now, let's pause on YoMama for a second. SoftDrinkTV, if y'all haven't heard of him, which I'm pretty sure y'all probably have depending on whatever videos y'all watch, but, you know, he makes retrospective videos about different football games and stuff like that. With that being said, you know, these are games that he went back to revisit, and also the games that he remembers from his childhood. You know what I mean? So he'll make a retrospective video, especially when you go ahead to revisit it and you kind of see what the game is really worth. Because, you know, we understand the hype of it at that time. You know what I mean? Because given Madden 10 was a brand new game at that time. You know what I'm saying? So when you're playing the game, you just remember the predecessor before that. or the game before that, which was Madden 09. I remember Madden 09. Madden 09 was the first game that I had on PS3. So then when I played Madden 10, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. This is a little bit different here. You know, oh, they improved this, they improved that. You know, the player movements are different. The tackling is better. You know what I mean? The passing is a little bit different. So it's a little bit more difficult. You got to be smarter with it now. You know, like I said, YoMama made some valid points there. You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with how he did it, but he made some pretty valid points. So at that time, Madden 10 was pretty good. But when you go back and look at it now, and you've had other Maddens to compare it to, Madden 10 wasn't really all that. So you got YoMama. I'm sorry, not him. We paused on him for a second. We got SoftDrinkTV making retrospective videos, and it don't necessarily have to be all about Madden football. He'll talk about NHL, FIFA. I think he's talking about FIFA. If not, he's working on it. What else? Basketball, NBA Live, 2K basketball, 2K football, and so on and so forth. And even then, like, even though he makes retrospective videos about Madden, he doesn't really give them all the credit that they deserve. There's a few Madden videos that he has that has Madden games that he liked. I think 13 was decent. 12 was okay. He liked 07. He has a series on Madden 07, I think on GameCube, and trying to think on top of my head what else. But like I said, his videos and his channel isn't all consistent of I hate Madden. You know what I'm saying? It's just retrospective videos, if anything. So we look at this whole situation that we're talking about here. So we're looking at YoMama breaking down the video that SoftDrink did about Madden NFL 10. So like I said, you've seen part 1 and part 2. So pretty much going to just re-elaborate everything I talked about. So in the beginning, like when he was talking about how SoftDrinkTV keeps talking about 2K football being the best football game ever, and he's talking about how trash it was, and you know what I mean. And like I said, the biggest thing that I didn't appreciate was the fact that you had a reaction to something that was a truly subjective opinion about a game. You know what I'm saying? People have had the same kind of words when it came to 2K football. When I stood on 2K5's platform so ever so upright and tall about it, you know what I'm saying? People have had the opposite thing to say about 2K football. You know what I mean? And even though it irks my nerves because it's like, what football game have y'all been playing? You know what I mean? I have to respect it. You know what I'm saying? It's their opinion. You know what I mean? I can respect where they're coming from. I don't have to necessarily agree with them wholeheartedly, but I understand where they're coming from with it. You know what I mean? With YoMama, it wasn't like that. You know what I mean? Everything was just, you're wrong. These are the facts. Fact. And I'm just like, nah, bro. Like, it don't work that way. It don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting there and, listening to him talk about that. And to tell you the truth, I knew he was just talking just to talk whenever he said the Y button was used for turbo. Everybody knows it, and everybody knows it that plays 2K football, knows something of it, that when you're playing 2K football, A or X, depending on what system you're on, was the button to be able to give yourself the turbo. And if you held it, it charged it up to make whatever move you wanted to do more effective. So if you wanted to spin, if you charged it up, the spin was more effective. If you wanted to juke, you can juke with the charged up, it's more effective. Same thing with stiff arm, shoulder charge, and diving. And then you can even just tap it again to give yourself a speed burst. You know what I mean? So with all that being said, when he said that Y was the turbo button, I lost it right there. I was like, yeah, okay, you just talking now. You know what I mean? Once you made that slip up, I was like, okay, now you're just talking to talk. So I let him roll on or whatever. So he talked about how people played the same. There was no variation between players. Skills and stats, it didn't matter. Madden NFL 10, they did. And I'm like, bro, both games actually had stats that mattered. You know what I mean? Like, you could tell the difference between somebody like a gunslinger and was very not accurate, like McNabb, versus playing somebody like Peyton Manning. And you go to Madden, same thing. You know what I'm saying? You can tell the difference. You can get overthrown passes. Not every catch is going to get caught. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listening to him keep rambling on about it. And and again, I want to reiterate real quick. I don't know how long this episode is going to be, but I just kind of I want to dedicate this episode just specifically for what we got going on here right now on YouTube. You know what I mean? So if you want to click off and you want to wait for the next episode, it's totally fine. But back to the whole situation. You know, when your mama went at him the way he did, I was like, yeah, like, how could you say that? You know what I mean? So we covered the whole turbo and the mix up of controls. He didn't understand that, or he flubbed up about that. Then when he started talking about the whole fight for the fumble thing, I lost it right then and there. You know what I mean? I lost it again because I'm just like, dude, like that's such a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, if I'm not mistaken, y'all seen the video. If I'm not mistaken, I believe they turned that off. Because how fair is it to knock a fumble, to knock the ball out, get a fumble? Your guy's the main one that hops on top of the ball, and he's the only one that actually grabbed the ball. But because there's a pile of people that's laying around, you mean to tell me I have to mash these buttons in order for me to secure the ball? So because even though my guy was the one that laid on the ball first and is on top of the ball, if I'm mashing up buttons, I don't get the ball back. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a very cheap mechanic. That's a very arcade-like mechanic. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be like, you can't have arcade and competitive at the same time because you're going to have a conflict of interest at that point. Because it's like, you're going to want certain areas to be arcadish and then you're going to want certain areas to be competitive. You know what I mean? So so eventually it's going to conflict with one another. So he ratted on him about that. Then he also talked about how deep the presentation was. And it's like, dude, like presentation, Madden NFL 10 was the last time they tried to attempt to try to make a semi-decent presentation. You know what I'm saying? Like the extra point, it was cool because they did the same thing in NCAA 10. Go look up NCAA 10, the same thing. It's like they tried their hand at presentation, but they just realized that presentation just wasn't as strong-handed. People wasn't really looking for Madden to do that because we all know what the bar was set from, and that's 2K football. You can say whatever you want, but 2K football set the bar, 2K5 specifically, set the bar for presentation. And Madden tried to answer that with NFL 10 and they tried to answer that with Madden NFL 10 and NCAA 10. They tried to answer that, but it didn't work. You know what I mean? So they said, all right, forget it. We just left it alone. NCAA is probably the only thing that still tries to try to bring that presentation with what you see on college Saturday and Sunday and stuff like that, or college, on the weekend when the college games are playing, that they still try to capture that, that atmosphere. They still try to. But what was I going to say? But going forward, so I'm looking at YoMama and the way that he's going at soft drink, right? And I'm not a big fan of, calling somebody out their name just because, you know what I'm saying, and telling people shut the fuck up because you don't know what you're talking about, and you know what I'm saying, like it really made him look like a child. It really made him look like a child, honestly. You know what I mean? If that's how you get your shit off, that's how you get it off. You know what I mean? Whatever. But YoMama, you gotta understand this too. You gotta realize that not everybody is competitive like you. You know what I mean? Like, you also got on the soft drink about how he was clamoring about All Pro was too easy and how you could put up 70 points or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. You got on to him about that and immediately tried to apply that to one's user skill. Oh, you could put up 70 on All Pro, but you ain't put up 70 on me. Like, it's like nowhere did he even say that he's so good at Madden, he could put up 70 points on a computer and can do it to anybody else if they tried him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't say nothing like that. You know what I mean? So I don't know where you get that from, where it's like, let's apply that logic to my competitive skill. Like, nobody said nothing about that. You know what I mean? We get it. You're competitive. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. We understand you're competitive. We understand that you like to play the win. So do I. I'm competitive my damn self. So hearing you do that and then watch you just still try to berate him as best as you can to your ability, was very cringeworthy. So what else did you talk about? You also spoke on you spoke on you spoke on the whole ideology of passing in Madden 10. Now, we know the history of where Madden is at right now. We know the history. Madden NFL 13 was the only game where they started actually adding pass trajectories. I kid you not. You can look it up if you don't believe me. Madden NFL 13 was the first game that started actually adding pass trajectories. Well, like there were different variations of pass trajectories. You know what I mean? We didn't start getting the high point bombs until 13. You could throw the bomb. You could throw the deep ball all you wanted to in Madden NFL 10, but it was always underthrown. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have those passes where they went right over the guy's shoulder. You know what I mean? You didn't have those passes where you could just lob the ball and lead him to the ball because he got his guy beat. We didn't have a lot of that stuff. So that's why a lot of the times where you kept stopping him just to rant in mid thought, it made me cringe. Because you're not letting the man finish. If you let the man finish, he said, I paraphrase at this point, but he said somewhere along the lines of severely underthrown balls, and there wasn't a lot of ability. There wasn't an ability to, not saying like actual ability in the game to let you do it, but I'm just saying like there is not a lot of times when you throw the ball and it literally just goes right over the guy's shoulder where only he can get it. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have a lot of that stuff in Madden NFL 10, and you didn't. Because I have Madden NFL 10 right now. I literally played it for maybe about a good hour and a half. Frustrated the ever living hell out of me. Not because I suck, but what I would feel to be a smart move, the game penalizes me for it. You know what I mean? Another thing that SoftDrinkTV also covered, he also covered the fact that you can't, no, I'll tell you about not can't, but you can cheese the computer by just running slants and throwing in the middle all day long. Computer don't know what the hell to do. They literally don't know what to do. You can throw slants and just hit the middle all day, all game long, just getting down the field. And you can do it all day long, and computer can't even figure out what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and if that's on all Madden, then that's sad because I have to cheese in order to get to the point that I need. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. But again, you wouldn't let the man finish because you neither had to stop and throw your point in right there. You didn't let the man finish. Like, you have to be open-minded about these type of things, or you don't have to be. You know what I mean? Let me not make up your mind for you. You don't have to be. You don't have to be open-minded about these things. You don't have to. But if you want a healthy conversation, you kind of have to take a step back outside of yourself for a second and be like, okay, let me see where this guy's coming from. I think that would be a lot more beneficial than just trying to argue a man down or try to assert the whole idea of, oh, you don't like this because you want such an easy game. You're trash, man. You can't hang with the big dogs in Madden. And it's not about that. It's not always about that competitive side. It's for the people who want to play franchise. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to get online to. I'm reiterating. I'm not retaking this. I don't always want to have to go online and have to like play chess matches, quote unquote, as you eloquently put it. I don't always have to go on and play chess matches. I don't want to do that. Like sometimes I just want to kick back, create me a team, take a team that was from the bottom, build them all the way up. We win in Super Bowls, you know what I'm saying? Then bounce over to a different team, build them up, relocate a team, and you know what I mean? Like that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like to do sometimes. You know, especially now in this current time right now, like online, no man, is just terrible. But at that time, you know, that's the type of stuff I like doing. It added more value to the game instead of just buying it just to only play online. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of kills the value of it if you just buy it just to play online. Because what if you don't have online? Then what are you going to do then? Oh, I guess the game's just sit there and collect dust then. You know what I'm saying? So, I listened to you talk about that. And what else did you say? Another thing that you like to mention, too, is a presentation. And how 2K5, you tired of 2K5 being mentioned, they set the bar, yo mama. You have to understand that, G. Like, they set the bar, okay? They're the ones that captured that atmosphere perfectly. You know what I mean? Like, they captured that image so perfectly that you can literally, like, go from playing that game and then can flip back to the TV and a football game is on right now, I swear to God, at that time you couldn't even tell the difference. No joke. From the scoreboard, the ticker, the announcers, you couldn't tell well, I don't tell you about the announcers, but like I said, you couldn't tell the difference. You would legit think you were actually watching a real football game at that time. You know what I mean? They set that bar pretty damn high. I remember, man, NFL 10 at that time, because remember, NBC was starting to do Sunday Night Football. So I remember seeing that and then looking at the font and looking at the scoreboard on how they tried to mimic it, just like how they got NBC, if not the same similar way. You know what I mean? I remember seeing that. So with that being said, I remember just seeing how that presentation looked. That set the bar. So when Madden NFL 10 tried their hand at it, it was a decent attempt. It was a very, very decent attempt. But it doesn't scratch that itch. It's almost like us saying pretty much like, well, damn, about time you did something about this presentation. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that should have been something that should have came into an entire package. Madden 07 was the last game that I remembered that tried their hardest. You know what I'm saying? As far as presentation goes. Matter of fact, I take it back. Between 05 and 07, those are the last two games that I remembered, or three, 05, 06, 07. So let's say three. Those are the last three games that I remember that tried their hardest on presentation. You know what I'm saying? Then you had Madden 09, Madden 08, where they tried to do the whole EA Sports Radio, or Madden 06 on 360 when it came out. They tried on EA Sports Radio. Not gonna lie, that was trash. I thought I was kind of half-hearted. Then you got, I think Madden 07 did the same thing. Like I said, all that shit was garbage, but 05, 06, 07 was the last time they really tried their hardest to try to appeal to something, even presentation-wise. But even then, 2K5 had them beat already. But Madden NFL 10 was just years too late. It's like, damn, about time, you know? So, pushing past that, trying to think, what else did he say? Give me a second here. He also talked about how the defense, the defense, he wanted the defense, the AI on defense, to be so dumbfounded. You know, he says that now, and that's what we got right now in Madden. You got guys that just don't know how to run their zones when they're supposed to be set there because of the hidden assignments in the zone changes. If A happens, then do B. If B happens, then do C. If B and C ain't there, then do A. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of assignment. So back then, he rather the AI be super dumbfounded, so they're not lurking, so they're not doing hit sticks and all that other stuff. Some of that stuff I agree on. Let me do the hit stick my damn self. All right. But at the same as that time, if you're playing somebody who's dotting you up and you got to cover something or take away something in order for him to throw to whoever's sitting right there in that zone, then so be it. You know, not all the time I can click on him or time the click on so I can be able to make the pick myself. I can't time it all the time. That's just me being real. You know what I mean? That don't make me any less of a player, but that makes it to, like you said, a chess match. You set this player here because you know that player is going to do something in this area. So you're going to sit him there and make sure that when he throws that, it's going to get picked off. I got this covered up here. I need for y'all to cover this right here. You know what I mean? If I got a smart safety like Palomalo and I tell him to play a deep blue because the guy's been throwing over the top for the past damn 4 drives, Palomalo's going to be over there whenever he throws that deep ball. You know what I mean? Like, stats matter. Stats are supposed to matter. So if you got somebody like Palomalu back there, like I said, because at the time they consider him a smart safety, if he's supposed to be back there playing over the top, then put him back there. Let him play that. You know what I mean? Now I'll click on him to make it happen if I can, but if I'm covering something else, I'm trusting the rest of my team and their ratings to cover the rest of the field in their zones if they say that they can run the zones. That's not me relying on computer to do everything for me, but that's just making it to where I don't have to think twice about my defense. I don't have to think twice about it. If I'm locking down on defense, everybody's doing their job, including me, because I got to take away a route that he's been hitting all over the top. It seems to me that computer can't cover themselves, so I got to take that away myself, forcing him to choose another player to throw to, or put enough pressure on him to where he throws a pick. You know what I mean? So when him saying that, I'm just like, are you sure that that's what you want? Because it's going to come to a point where you're going to say, oh, he was right there. Why didn't he pick it off? Oh, he was right there. Why didn't he swat that down? Because you can't click over there in time. Not all the time you can click over there. That's just what it is, bro. So you just have to, you got to learn to just, you have to learn to just make sure you have to learn your team. I ain't gonna lie, Madden in 2010, 2009, Eagles were struggling. I think the best team we had at quarterback was Michael Vick. I think McNabb was almost on his way out, I think, if he wasn't out already. So I think Vick was like the next one we had put up in Philly. Then I think we started getting LaShawn McCoy and Brian Westbrook was still there, but LaShawn McCoy was next up. We had Action Jackson back there. We had Macklin. I think Kevin Curtis was still there. Who else? There's a plethora of other people that were still there, but yeah, Philly was going through their little changes at the time, but yeah, you know what I mean. But as far as defense goes, like if you got a good defensive team and their rating said that they play good defense, then you should allow them to play that good defense. Not saying they should do everything for you, but if a guy throws to a flat and I got a guy sitting there in the flat, don't just watch the ball go past you. You know what I mean? Especially if I can click over to you in time. If I'm not paying attention to it, you should be standing right there ready to make that play at any given time, not waiting on the user to do something. So, so he went on about that. And then what else did he go on? I'm trying to think. What else was I gonna cover in part 3? Give me a second here, because this is all live. I'm not stopping to re-record anything. And then he also talked about blitzes, like it being so competitive that they introduce A gap blitz and B gap blitz and C gaps, and I'm like, at that time I played people online, right? I played people online extensively. A lot of the times I played guys, hut, sack. What? I'm trying to feel like, yo, where's my protection at? As soon as I snap the ball, I'm literally having to scramble back so I can get more time to throw. That's how bad it got. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like he was sending a crazy blitz. Not crazy blitz, but it wasn't like he was sending guys that my lineman couldn't defend. No, he was glitching my O-line. He was sending turbo blitzes, nano blitzes, if you will. That's all he was doing. You know what I mean? So I don't know in what world y'all call that competitive, but I know that in tournaments that I've gone to, the first tournament I went to when I lost in the second to the final round, whatever round that is, I don't know, the semifinals or whatever, but when I lost, that's what the guy did to me on a slick slide in order for him to secure his win. I lost that game, and I tried to tell him, yo, he turbo blitzed me. You know what I mean? They didn't want to hear it. The game was over. So he ended up winning it or whatever. I think he won like a $200 gift card, a copy of Madden, and some other shit. But he had he was running turbo blitzes. You know what I mean? So the guys who I would play online, they would do the same thing, and they would call that competitive. Oh, if you can't stop it, that's on you. I'm just like, yo, like there's practically almost no way to stop this shit. The only way I can get around it is try to slide protect, but even then, that's 100% consistent. So, not all the time is competitive, meaning like, you know your team, their strengths, their weaknesses. That was competitive to me, but competitive is now trying to find the cheapest shit to win. Let me see. What else did this man say? He also talked about it being too slow. You know what I mean? Madden 10 marketed their game as being slower paced to be more realistic, if we being real. Let's see what else in there. Fight for the fumble. That shit was garbage. What else? And a lot of the times I found in that video, which I think I covered it one time in one of the parts, a lot of the times I would look and see, he had a lot of slip ups in that stream. You know what I mean? Like, and I could kind of tell he wasn't too serious. But when he would say certain stuff, I'm just like, dude, come on, you can't be for real. He'll say things like, like he'll say 2K5 was dog shit. And then later he'll say 2K5 was a decent game. It's like, which one is it? Is it decent or is it dog shit? Which one is it? He didn't spend enough time on 2K football to understand what it was. because you are a Madden head, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy Madden, you enjoy Madden, but don't knock something else and try to discredit it when in all honesty you didn't spend enough time with it, because that's the same thing you would hit and soft drink with. You know what I mean? If you didn't spend enough time on Madden NFL 10, then you can't make a retrospective or you can't critique it. You haven't spent enough time on it. You know what I mean? You can't say the same thing. You can say the same thing about yourself when it comes to 2K football. You didn't play it enough to understand what it was. Hence, in the beginning, the whole turbo button thing. You didn't even know what the turbo button was. Why? Because you didn't play enough 2K for you to remember the controls. I remember both controls on Madden and 2K football. You don't see me misconstruing them up. You don't see me doing that. You know what I mean? So, you talk about it being too slow. You can't button pass this stuff. You try to make it seem like the cut scenes of 2K5 were too long. That's a bunch of bullshit, because you can skip past all of that. You can hurry to the line, and that's another thing about Madden too that I appreciate 10 having, and 2K5 also allowing you to do that we don't have in Madden now. I appreciate them breaking the huddles. I appreciate that. I really appreciate them being able to come out of the huddle and settle on the line. You know what I mean? Like, instead of this shit where we pick a play and then we just automatically spawn near the ball. Everybody's on the line. The QB just got to get underneath center. And at the same time that he was spin coming out of the huddle and everybody getting set, they put that into the QB time of him getting set underneath center. That shit is so dumb to me. That shit is so stupid. I don't know who petitioned for that shit, but that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. I honestly, God, hate it. You know what I mean? But you could button past a lot of that stuff. Talking back to 2K5, you can button past a lot of that stuff. You said the gameplay was too slow. You can speed it up. You can literally go into the game speed and speed it up. If you want a slower, faster, normal pace, whatever, you can speed it up. Same thing in Madden. You went in there and turned it up to normal. I know you did. Let's see. What else? So we talk about the online thing. On the online, we talk about presentation, fight for fumble. I got this stuff written down. Let's see. Yeah, 2K5 sprint button. Let me see. Franchise mode. I'll say this about franchise mode, because I think you talked about franchise mode or said something that franchise mode wasn't as good as we say it was in 2K football. The last franchise mode I remember was Madden 07. That's the last great franchise mode I remember, because that one was deeper than what we got now, more innovative. You know what I mean? That was at that time where NCAA football was still being made. Like, to me, the biggest feature that I liked so much about, there was two big features. One's probably more minuscule than the other, but the one feature that I really appreciated was the ability to export draft classes or import draft classes. I appreciated that feature so much. I really did. Because I played both games, NCAA 07 and Madden 07. You know what I mean? So it was cool to actually be able to play with the players that performed that year. The one that won the Heisman, the one that was on the Heisman watch, the ones that actually performed that year, whoever won the national championship that year, who won the bowls, whatever the case is, the ones who declared for the draft. And then on top of that, when you imported that class, they had an EA Sports All-Star game, which was basically the college football players. I think the top 32 or 64 prospects, they all 64, however many it is, all the top prospects in that draft class all congregated together for a scrimmage game, which it was a game, but it was a scrimmage game. And you figured out who was who, from the cornerbacks to the kickers to the quarterbacks to the wide receivers, the linemen, the safeties, the middle linebackers, so on and so forth. Like, that was cool to me. We don't have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So for them to have something like that early on, that says a lot about them and their attention to detail. That says a lot. You know what I mean? So the only thing I would say about 2K5 is just they were more animate about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had you actually like sitting in the front office, like the menu sat you in the front office. You know what I mean? Then on top of that, you could probably go blow for blow, toe to toe with this one. But you had the weekly wrap up where at the end of each week you hit the select button or back button, whichever system you were on, and you did the weekly wrap up, and it showed you the games that were played, who won, the stats, the big trades, the injuries, the some of the plays. Sometimes you would have a game where they'll show the highlight of somebody scoring a touchdown or whatever. It might be your team or the team that was featured for the week. Then they'll really go down the line like as if you watching the episode of Sports Center. They're really doing it. You know what I mean? So in Madden 07, they had the EA Sports Radio with Tony Bruno. You know what I mean? And me personally, I love that. I love that in the newspaper because the newspaper for each individual team, to give you an example, I'm from Texas, so I was born in Dallas. So, if you're a Cowboys fan, the newspaper for Texas, Dallas, Texas is the Dallas Morning News. So each team had the actual officially licensed newspaper for that team. So Cowboys is one of them. Now, Tony Bruno, on the other hand, it was cool listening to him talk about the games of the week and then him listening to what the coaches got to say about how they're preparing about the next game. And then you got people that will like call in, which I'm pretty sure are just stand-ins. People will call in and say, what do you think about the next game that's going on? What do you think, who's going to win or who's going to come out on top? Then when the games are over, then they'll read off the stats about who's the player of the game. I'll never forget the time I had Philly, right? And I had Javon Curse. I had him at left end or right end, whichever side. I think it was left end. I had him at left end. No joke. I literally had 15 sacks with that man. 15 sacks with that man. No joke. The lineman couldn't hold him. I was shedding off of him like crazy. Had 15 sacks that game, and I think 4 forced fumbles, I think. You know what I mean? So hearing Tony Bruno repeat back those stats to me, that made me fall in love with Madden 07. I mean, there was nothing that could take Madden 07 away from me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I felt about Madden 07 because it was just that deep, that innovative. The fact that it called back on that moment and I was just in that. That was cool to me. That was attention to detail. So that's why I stuck with Madden 07 so hard the way that I did and still do now. So the whole franchise thing, it's subjective. If you want to talk about Madden NFL 10, I mean, it was better than Madden 09 because Madden 09 was so bare bones. So you could say from Madden 09 to going to 10, you could say that, yeah, they improved. So I'll give them that. But as far as all the other stuff goes, man, it's like, you can't speak for everybody, your mama. And I think you have to understand that too. You don't speak for a whole lot of people. So I think, when you were talking about, a lot of people and how they feel about competitiveness, not everybody's competitive. Like, not everybody you play is going to be super duper competitive. You're going to have scrubs. You're going to have the guys who are just like you. You're going to have the guys who spent too much time and are just better than you. And man, that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So, with all that being said, and he was going on a line about a lot of that stuff, I honestly, God, felt like, that was just really unwarranted for him to go at Soft Drink and call him stupid and moron and idiotic. And, you know what I mean? If that's how you get your content off, hey, by all means, do you. But why would you do that to somebody who doesn't even have that kind of language? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes you look like you're just picking on somebody. That's what it makes it look like that. You know what I mean? Then, we go on to Twitter and, I call him out on it. And yeah, I did. You know what I'm saying? I called him out on it because I really felt like that was just out of line. You know what I mean? All kinds of stupids and just calling a man out his name in general, that was just really uncalled for. About a subjective opinion about a Mad game that you loved. Like, come on, dude. Like, come on, man. Like, how old are we? You know what I'm saying? So, that's where I come in. So that's when I started, like showing him like, yo, like you really wrong for that. And this is why you're wrong. So I just started just going down the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? And I was waiting on him to try to challenge anything that I'm saying. So, he tried to say that, SoftDrinkTV, because he added him, can DM me anytime, talk to me anytime, debate me about the best football game or whatever. But I laugh at people who try to defend for him or some shit he said. You know what I mean? And like I said, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But, you're wrong for having that take on Soft Drink like that. Because you got him pegged all the way wrong. And I know I said it in the video, but I'm just saying, like, for real, you have him pegged all the way wrong. You know what I mean? You had no business going at him like that. You can say whatever you want. Oh, he must be his boyfriend or something. Like, nah, like, wrong is wrong. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Like, that was a wrong take to go at Soft Drink because he doesn't talk like that. You know what I mean? So, I just want to just kind of, I want to start wrapping this up a little bit because, like I said, I didn't know how long this episode was going to be. So let me wrap this up a little bit. I don't know. Let me see if I can get both parties involved. Let's see what we can do. But I would like to have an episode where we actually sit down and we actually have a little chit chat. You know what I mean? Me, YoMama, Soft Drink, and we really come together and actually have a conversation. And I would love to record that and throw this on this channel. I would love to do it. You know what I mean? Because like I said, we can all sell our differences right then and there. I have no beef with YoMama. No, nothing whatsoever. I have no beef with him at all. You know what I mean? I think his content is kind of cool. It's all right. You know what I mean? But this video in particular, that segment in particular, he was wrong. So I'm going to figure out how I can get all parties involved, see if I can make that happen. If we can make that happen, then definitely next week I'll put up the video or put up the episode of the podcast and we get it cracking. You know what I mean? But to anybody who's watching this video, if y'all going to try to cut something out, just know, YoMama, this is just DiVine talking to you. I absolutely have no beef. I don't hate you. I don't think you're any less of a person, regardless of what I may say. I just had to come at you in the way that you came at Soft Drink to let you know that you were wrong. Your take on him was wrong. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's an opinion and it's all truly subjective. And you didn't keep that in mind when you went in there. But if that's your content, that's how you get off, then by all means, do your thing. But you're wrong. You're not wrong in your opinion about Madden 10 being what it felt like to you, but you're wrong in how you make one video. You let one video about somebody critiquing Madden 10, let that be the end all be all about how this person is, what his personality is, assuming how this person is. Because I'm pretty sure you won't want nobody to do that to you. But I'm going to wrap this thing on up, man. I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate all the support y'all been showing these videos, man. For real. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread links, because you know how I do. To anybody else listening on to the other platforms, make sure you hit the like button, follow, comment, subscribe, whatever applies to you on the platform you're listening to this on. Make sure you hit that. And yeah, man, definitely we're gonna wrap this down. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Again, appreciate all the support y'all been showing the videos, man. Make sure to like button, comment, subscribe, share the word, spread links, because you know how I do. But I'm gonna get up out of here, man. I'm gonna see what I can do. It's your boy DiVine, and I'm signing out. Peace.